It is Monday night. It is 7:30. Let's wait for a couple of people to arrive. Hello there. How are you doing? We are going to be kind of weird hair thing going on here. Hi. Hello. Here we go. How are you doing? Nice to see you all. Right, so today hi Anna. Today we're going to be talking about decision making, and not only making the decisions, but making decisions that we can live with, because that's the hard bit, isn't it? Hi there. Your dog is adorable, by the way. Hey Holly. Yeah, so making decisions and then living with those decisions. So I'm gonna, because we've got a few people joined now, so I will let you know where this came up. So it came up because of the endometrial scratch research that was kind of published in the last couple of weeks, and that got a lot of people thinking. And when I was asked to comment on that with Grazia, I said that it's great that the research was being done, obviously, but sometimes it's hard to make rational decisions in such an emotional situation. So that was one of the things. Hi ladies who have just joined. So hey Kelly. But since then I've had to make a decision. I'm going to a hypnotherapist, and that's something I'm not saying that people should do. It's just a decision that I've made for various different reasons. Now there were three options. I wanted to investigate three different options. Number one was a hypnotherapist that I've used before. Several years ago now, to stop smoking. Now I was hypnotised 3 times to stop smoking. I didn't smoke a lot, which was the ridiculous thing. Hey Tonky Mum, I found it really difficult to stop. And the second option was to use someone that was recommended to me. You did hypno counselling, it was great, okay. So the second option was someone that was recommended to me who I know the person got pregnant. The third option, currently injecting whilst watching you. We are with you. We are thinking we don't want to do this. We're thinking, yes, we're doing this for a good reason. I saw your story the other day and I totally agree with you. That's a really good mindset to have. But anyway, so the third option is someone that was recommended to me by someone who used to work with them. Now I had to chat with the latter two. Well, I had to chat with all three. Number one, who I've used before, could only do it on Skype. And I just didn't feel that comfortable with doing it on Skype all the way through. It's fine to do a couple face-to-face and then Skype, but kind of that scratched off number one. The second one I spoke to, and I liked her. She was really nice. The third one I spoke to, and I really, really liked her actually on the phone. So then I was left with choosing between the last two. And the really hard thing about this is when I tried to have this conversation with my husband, once we decided this was the Insta Live for this week, I had to go through the conversation again. We had to remind ourselves of why we came to the last decision, or the decision that we made. So, and it goes something like this. And this is why it's so hard to make decisions, because there's no right or wrong answer necessarily, but we have to go through it rationally and come to a decision that then we have to live with. But it could go the other way. But anyway, so we decided that the hypnotherapist that I saw that didn't work for me, this is for the smoking thing, my husband also saw him. Neither of us particularly liked him, but he worked for Bob. So then, this is really hard. So then I have got something written down, but it doesn't really explain it. So I think that I need to like the person that hypnotises me. That's what it is. Because otherwise it doesn't work. Because the one that is Skype only, I saw face to face and I really liked her and it worked. Therefore, I've gone with the third one. Thanks, Keely, honestly. And these are the decisions we have to live with. And yes, so I decided to go with the one that I particularly liked when I spoke to her. And that is my decision. Isn't that ridiculous? Is it ridiculous though? Is there a right or wrong? Any of them might work. And that's why it's so hard to make a decision when you're doing this. Is anyone with me? Does anyone have any other options for the decisions they make? Does anyone have a decision that they wish they hadn't and then it did work? Do you know what I mean? It's just that no one can tell me what the right answer is. And so I need to make a decision and live with that decision if it doesn't work. I don't want to turn around and think, oh, well, if I'd gone with the one that I know definitely worked, or the one that worked for me before, that kind of thing. So, right. Thank you, ladies, who are telling me to keep going. Thanks, I really appreciate that. Amazing at making decisions. I am not, though, that is one thing. But thank you, I appreciate what you're saying. Right, you've got to feel comfortable. And I think a lot of people have lost the skill of listening to their gut instinct. That's a good comment, I like that. Makes sense, yes, thank you. Definitely no right or wrong, which is really the really kind of the hard thing about it. Go with your gut feeling. It's what feels right for you, totally. But the thing is, it's even with that, like, another day, like, because we were kind of set on the middle one to start with, and then it was like, well, no, we don't have to like them as long as they work, but actually, another day I might go with a different decision. So you've made a decision on instinct. When the facts aren't available, what more can you do? Do you know what? That is a very kind of guilt-releasing statement. Thank you, Anna. I think you're right. But then, and that's why it's good, and this totally sounds like a plug, even though it's not, but to write things down, or to record things like this, because at least then you can go back and kind of remind yourself why you made those decisions. You have to feel comfortable with someone treating you, and that's right. And do you know what? I'm going to see her on Wednesday, and if I don't feel comfortable with her, then I'm just going to swap to one of the other options. Like, we haven't actually met face to face, so there always be another option. You would go crazy if you second guess yourself all the time, but you do, don't you? That's the problem. No, you're right. You have to be comfortable with them. It's like acupuncture, and I have been really, really lucky with. Oh, and now this could sway it the other way. With my acupuncturist and my reflexologist, I didn't see them, at the same time through, the same treatments. I saw an acupuncturist for the first 2 rounds and 2 frozens, and I saw the reflexologist for the last round. I love and rate both of them, but neither of them have seen me through to a pregnancy, which now I think, well, maybe I should go with the second one. It's so hard, isn't it? It's so important. You like the person. Your acupuncturist is so nice, and that really helps. Yeah, I know, yeah. Completely makes sense to go with your gut. We went with our gut IVF clinic and are so happy to date. And do you know what? When we talked about choosing a clinic, and there are all of the fact things, the kind of checking the HFEA if you live in the UK and all of that kind of thing. But a lot of it is, and I remember saying this at the fertility show when I was on the panel there, it's like, if you're giving the person £10,000, say, or 3,000 or 4,000 for your treatment, if it doesn't work, can you walk away and think, they did the best job they could? And that is what it is a lot of the time. So that does come down to gut instinct. And, you can look at the facts and the figures, but sometimes, you might walk into a clinic that's got amazing facts and really, really not like the person. You might walk into a clinic, and just fall in love with everyone there. And so you do go with your gut. Agree with some ladies about going with your gut when you just know. But what about when you don't quite know? Like, I could be swayed. Can I ask how hypnotherapy help? Is it just relaxation, positive thoughts? So one of the reasons that I want to do hypnotherapy is because my husband read an article years ago about it, and I can't find the article. I can't remember where it was written. It just had a real impact on me. But for me, it's not so much about the relaxation. I feel like I've achieved that significantly through previous rounds, and that hasn't worked. For me, it's more about regressional stuff. And someone once said to me that I would be the auntie gadding around the world, bringing back presents. All my nieces and nephews would love me. I'm kind of embellishing on this. It was a one-off statement. And in that statement, I assumed that they meant that I wouldn't have children. Now, I didn't give that much thought to it, but it's something that does play on my mind. They've probably long forgotten that they ever said it to me. And it was before I had any nieces or nephews. This was years ago, but it's really stuck in my mind. And what if, and I know it sounds ridiculous, but Jesus, you get to the point where you just have to explore everything. I'm being very honest about this. I feel a bit silly, but you know what? Sod it, I can be silly. And yeah, so I want to know if there's if there is a subconscious block in my head somewhere because of that statement, because of something completely different that was said to me or I've done, or, I want to clear that. I want to know that there isn't something inside of me saying either that I'm not good enough to be a mum, that I'd be a rubbish mum, that I shouldn't get pregnant, that I shouldn't, and it's just because I've tried so many other things. This is something that I just want to try. I think the first person, funny enough, the person that I saw at the beginning or years ago, she did try and do a bit of a hard sell on the relaxation, and we all saw Relaxgate, but I think that is always going to be part of it, and that's totally fine. But for me, it is more about the regressional stuff that I'm interested in. You can only go on first impressions, Tonky Mum, absolutely. I always think you should go with the person you feel comfortable with in this instance as you're opening up to them. I did that for my counsellor. And you know what? For a counsellor, if it was a counsellor, I would say, go see them, have 1 or 2 sessions and see if you like them. And I've done that in the past before and with varying degrees of success. And so maybe I shouldn't rely too heavily on making the decision now. Maybe I should go and see her this week. But then do I go and see both of them? But then that's like, a few £100 down the drain. But is it, if it means that I've seen both of them and I've made a decision based on meeting them? And maybe that's what I'll end up doing, I don't know. You've definitely found writing things down helps make those decisions, definitely. And like keeping that so that you can refer back to it. That's what I think. We made a massive life decision. It was made because we knew it was right. The decision was made deep inside before you knew it. You know what? And I think often that can be the case. You kind of know, but you still have to go through the decision-making process. But when you do make the decision, it feels right. And I think that's one of the hard things with this. I still haven't made the decision necessarily. Even though I have, because I've booked one of them and not the other, I am second-guessing that a little bit. Your friend has done hypnotherapy for weight loss and she's found it amazing. She found it nesting and waited till she found one she was comfortable. I'm not sure. Oh, the best thing, that's it, the best thing. And waited till she found one that she was comfortable with. Absolutely. And like I say, with the smoking thing, I was hypnotised twice by the original guy and once by someone else. So it is a process. It's just that, we're on a short time lead at the moment. Although actually, I got a date for my hysteroscopy today and it's the end of August. So I'm having to, what was it that Alice said about kind of taking control basically and calling them. So there is a lot of doctor phone action at the moment going on in my house. It took you 12 months, Claire, to decide you wanted acupuncture and to choose and trust someone. So glad you did it. So much is about taking time for these decisions. Absolutely. I was really lucky with my acupuncturist, was a friend of a friend, like a really good friend of a really good friend, and I just adored her immediately. And my reflexologist I saw pre my last round, wasn't even really thinking about it as part of my kind of care for my IVF round, and fell in love with her. Vicky at Gable Yard, total plug, she's amazeballs. Okay, injection done. Hello, you're back. I like to think the process of IVF is someone else driving the car for you and you start in the boot unable to grab the wheel. The further forward you can get to the passenger seat. So any decisions you can make to get there to regain control will help you. Definitely. You're so right. This all makes sense, definitely. You're not helping me make my decision. No, I'm just joking. Actually, I say that jokingly, but it's true. I have to make the decision. Myself and Bob have to make that decision, If you make the wrong decision, though, and pick the wrong person, that's okay, and you can pick someone else. Don't feel obliged to stay with someone if they don't feel right. And actually, do you know what? That's a really good point. And I am going to see the girl on Wednesday, and I'm going to actually make the proper decision after that rather than now. Do you sometimes think we overthink everything as in this journey? Yes! We have to do so much research, etc. So what if we just trusted our gut? Yeah, and there is something in that, definitely. For you, hypnocounselling allowed you to regain a sense of control over your emotions. Maybe if you had patience to try meditation, you wouldn't have needed to do it. Okay, but I think that goes back to, and I think we've talked about this in other things, like the whole personal trainer thing. It's a bit like, giving someone a watch and asking them to tell you the time. You know, sometimes we need that person there to kind of to make us do stuff. So don't be too hard on yourself about that. I think that, you know, we do a lot already and we have a lot going on in our lives anyway, you know, with this all on top of it. So if we need someone to kind of discipline us and encourage us and motivate us, I think that's okay. That's not a bad thing. So hypnotherapy, reflexology, acupuncture, anything that helps you have control is a good thing. Absolutely. That's the and you know, and something that I do say regularly is the whole comparison. Something just because I'm doing this doesn't mean it's the right thing to do, doesn't mean you should do it, you know, but maybe because someone's going to say, you know, the hypno counselling I'd never heard of before, you know, it gives us ideas that we can go away and research and decide if it's right for us. So you do think I make so much sense. Thanks. I don't know, at the beginning there I wasn't so sure I was going to come to a decision. You totally agree with that. I was told once by a gyno you would never have children, no diagnosis, no investigation, just a throwaway comment. Honestly, people don't understand, do they? They really don't. I know exactly what you're talking about, Kat. I have a few things that I keep thinking about, and when we first found out about IVF, all you did was look back on the last and to feel guilt and blame. Exactly, and there's so much guilt, isn't there? It's horrible. That's why it's about, you know, it isn't just about making the decisions, it's about living with those decisions. That's such a key part of it. You switched acupuncture practitioners after your miscarriage, felt you needed someone more fertility focused. Your heart was telling, my heart was telling me I need a change of direction after the heartache, and I totally understand that. And interestingly, I didn't change my acupuncturist after an initial miscarriage and then 2 negative frozen transfers. See, I say this and I think this is ridiculous, but at the time it just felt right. And after a second miscarriage, in fact. But I didn't see, you know, I didn't blame her. You know, it wasn't her fault I wasn't getting pregnant. Would I have got as far as I did with the pregnancy and the miscarriage if I hadn't seen her? Like, that's the thing, we just don't know, do we? Realise that sounds totally crazy, but, you know, we'll try anything that we think might help. Exactly. Reiki has helped you look back on the past a bit, much more work to do. And, you know, this is the thing, like, if I had loads of money, like tons of money, I think I'd spend my life in counselling and in Reiki and all of that stuff. It's just really nice stuff to do. I think it just is so annoying that we have to do it under such duress, because it would be a really, like, all of these things I have so much time for. It's just, we haven't got a lot of time and we want to do as many as possible without it getting confusing and too much. I'm going to flick through because we've only got a couple of minutes left. Sorry, I've done a lot of talking here. You want to try hypnotherapy and healing, basically anything, if you had the money. Exactly, I totally am with you. Maybe you only need to see the second if you don't click with the first. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that. Otherwise I'm going to get myself in all sorts of bother. Not crazy at all, definitely. Anything that makes you feel in control of this process is a good thing for the old mind, for sure. Vicky is amazeballs. Oh my God, are we only there? Clearly I need to flick through this quicker. She is amazeballs, absolutely. If you live in Cambridgeshire, Vicky, Gable Yard. I think because you have a backup plan, it takes the heat off the decision a little. Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes you want it black and white, don't you? Yes, you overthink everything in this, yeah. You think trying anything new always benefits from a second chance. Don't write off immediately. You didn't like your first acupuncture. Absolutely. So important not to blame ourselves for any decisions we make. I'm still working on that. Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Important not to overload the body. Any therapy should be a few days apart or even a week apart. Can't do it all. Do you know? And I ended up in that situation a little bit last year, Claire, because I was doing the reflexology, and then I ended up doing fertility yoga. And we were doing all the organic and other bits and pieces, and I felt a little bit pressured into doing it all, and that has its own issues, you know. I was driving up and down because my yoga was quite far away, but yeah, it does, yeah, you can put way too much pressure on yourself to do too many things, and I didn't do something else because I was doing those two, and I would say, yeah, there is a line that needs to be drawn. Don't put too much in, I was saying that Reiki and counselling and all that, I would love to do all of it, but yeah, not all at the same time, certainly. So we are almost out of time. Any last comments? Oh, here we go. Acupuncture is too pricey for you, and you read up about it and it wasn't for you really. You're happy with that decision, and that's it. We have to make these decisions, and we have to just, try and be kind of, have no guilt after them, and see where they take us. I am off now, because that is our 20 minutes up, but it was really good to be back. Sorry about last week. I was genuinely on an aeroplane, so it would have been bloody hard to do. Next week, got a couple of ideas, but do send some in. I am going to take my microgynon now, which I am having now in the evenings. Thank you for that idea. Someone sent it through, to try the medication just before I go to bed rather than in the morning. I have made it through today without crying. Thank you for all of your comments on my post yesterday. I will come back to you, I promise. I just had a lot of catching up to do after a crazy week. But right, I'm going over now, just chatting to you because I missed you. But I'm going to go now. See you later all. Bye bye.